Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. Okay, so this is your year to begin your story. We're going to talk about today how to move your writing dream forward. So you might have had plans last year, didn't quite work out, or maybe you started it, but you didn't finish it. So this is going to be the year where you will finish and write and finish your book. So let's talk about how to make that writing dream a reality.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
Welcome to the Julia Monte channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Monte. I'm a women's fiction author and here every Friday to give you some writing tips and advice. So let's talk about how to move your writing dream forward and get your book written. So the first thing I want to talk about is that writing is a process, right? And it's an ever-changing process, and we need to grow all the time. The first thing we want to do as a writer who wants to write a novel or any type of book is to decide that we're going to be growing all the time, that we're going to be continually learning about the skills to be a writer and about the industry, about the publishing industry as a whole, or maybe self-publishing if you're thinking of going that route, or maybe learning about how to do either one. What's my benefit to being published by a traditional publisher or self-publishing my own book? So this is something that you want to think about, and you want to learn about both of those things. Okay, so this is I'm continuously trying to teach myself things, and I have been in this business for over 25 years, but I'm always learning something new because, again, the publishing industry is always changing. When I first started writing, it was a completely different world for publishing. There was there was self-publishing, but not as easy as today, where you can just go and publish your book. It was a long process, and you had to really understand what you were doing. You had to make connections with wholesalers. It was just a nightmare to try to get your book self-published, and you had to put in a lot of money because you had to actually print your books. So things have changed a lot. So if I had just stayed with, doing what I was doing back then, I wouldn't be writing today. So it's something that you have to continuously do and think about, is always learning something new. How can I improve my skills? How can I keep up with what's going on? There was about a couple of years time where I took just a break. I was just really getting burnt out and just kind of disillusioned with the whole publishing industry. I didn't see it serving most people. You really needed to be a celebrity or just a well-known best-selling author in order to get published and to stay published. And I was just thinking, this isn't going anywhere. So I took a couple of years doing something else, and I was still writing, but I just wasn't really active in it, and I wasn't learning. Once I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want my publishing career to continue, and do I want it to? And I did. So I decided I wanted to do more self-publishing rather than traditional. Not that I'm going to leave that behind completely. I may go back to it someday, but I wanted to kind of take control over my writing career, my publishing career. And so I decided that, self-publishing was going to be how I was going to do it. And but what happened during that time, those 2 years, when I didn't keep learning, I didn't keep growing, I kind of felt a little lost. Like, where is the publishing industry today? So even if I'm not working with traditional publishers, I need to understand the industry. What are publishers buying? Because if they're buying something, there's probably a reason for that. And what are readers reading? Where is the publishing world right now? And I needed to do a little catch up on that. Also, being a little rusty on marketing, being a little rusty on writing for readers. So if you're not continually learning and always upgrading your skills and always keeping up to date with what's going on, you are going to feel behind, and it's going to be a little more difficult for you to publish and to write because you're kind of out of the circle. So that continual growth, that sort of mindset that I'm always going to be learning something new about publishing, digital, how are things changing because of technology? How are things changing because of the world that we live in. You need to understand all that and keep up to date with it if you want to continue to do well. First, let's talk about what probably you don't want to talk about is why haven't you moved forward up until this point? What kept you from writing in 2020 or 2021? What went on that you decided not to take this dream seriously, assuming that this is a dream that you really are serious about? And there's a lot of reasons why people don't start. One of them is that it's a little scary, right? So you have this dream to write. You don't know if you're going to do well. You don't know if you're going to be able to publish your book. You don't know if you're going to be able to learn about self-publishing and actually do it. You don't know if the story is going to be something that somebody wants to read, which we talked about last week. So if that is something that you're curious about, like is my story idea good, then listen to last week's video. But that fear is real and it does keep us from doing things because it's different and we've never done it before and we don't want to appear foolish and we don't want to waste time. So all of these things are valid, right? So one of the things that keeps us from moving forward is that fear of doing something different and actually following our dream and something that we feel kind of in our heart that we want to do, but that we're afraid to do because we haven't done it before. So one of the things that we need to get over is that fear or kind of, doing it in spite of being afraid of something. We need to just get out there and say, okay, I'm going to try it. Because if you don't, if you let that fear stop you, then, you won't move forward. So it doesn't matter whether the story would have been good or not, or whether you would have been able to sell it, or whether it because you never did it. So I think to me, that's more sad and than not trying at all and letting that fear stop you. So that's kind of the first thing that we need to get over if we're going to move forward is figure, if we are afraid to start, then we need to be able to push ourselves past that fear so that we can move forward and do what we need to do. Okay, and so our dreams usually, in our mind are always perfect, right? So it's going to be wonderful. We're going to write a story. It's going to sell, millions of copies. We're going to have tons of happy readers. And, but a part of that fear, right, is that it really might not be true. That our dreams really usually don't work out exactly the way we think they are going to. So that's one of the reasons I think for fear. But the other thing that happens, or the other kind of problem with moving forward, is that we really might not want to change. So it might be very comfortable doing what we're doing, just kind of dreaming about it and saying how wonderful it would be if I wrote a book, or it would be so cool to be able to sit at a book signing or whatever. But I'm working right now, and things are going pretty well. I'm making money, and it's kind of nice to come home and just sit down with my kids and watch TV or just relax. So there's part of us that we might not want to change. We know that it's going to require a lot of change. It's going to require a lot of work. So if you want to write, you're going to have to take the time to sit and write. You're going to have to take the time to, plan your story. You're going to have to take the time to do it all. So it's going to require change. Maybe you're going to have to change your schedule. Maybe you're going to have to not go on certain weekend, trips with friends. There's a lot of things you might not be able to do because you're following this dream of getting your book written. And so since we know that, it might not be the fear that's stopping us, but it might just be that we really don't want to change our life the way that we have it, planned and the way that it works right now. And again, that's a valid reason, right? It's do we really want to change everything and alter our path in order to follow this other path? And then some people might not want to do that enough, right? So how strong is this dream of writing that you're willing to do this, that you're willing to say, okay, I understand I'm going to have to change my schedule. I'm going to have to get up earlier in the morning. I'm going to have to do something to get this book written. Because right now, the book, I'm not setting any time to write this book. So I want to, and I'm going to have to make some changes. So to move forward, you have to be willing to do that. To achieve any goal, you have to be willing to change the way things are going now to the way that they could go later, right? So right now I may be working long hours. I may be spending time watching TV. I may be going out with friends a lot. I may be doing other things that keep me or from writing, that I don't have time to write. I can tell myself I don't have time, right? But if this is super important, I have to be willing to change what I'm doing today in order to achieve that goal. Which again is going to require you to do something different, and you need to decide what that different is going to be. Whether it's going to be adding, extra being awake longer, extra hours in the morning, extra hours at night, maybe working a little less, maybe not going on outings, maybe doing something that's going to give you the opportunity to write the book that you want to write or to learn the things that you need to learn to write that book. Okay, so think about that. Is it something that you're willing to change your life the way it's going now in order to achieve your dream? The other thing that you might need is to learn, right? So there may be skills or maybe some resources that you need in order to achieve your writing dream. So maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not, I have a hard time with grammar, I have a hard time with spelling, or I just don't understand the publishing world, or I don't know how to self-publish. These are all gaps that you have right now. And you know that you have them. So then what you need to do is fill those gaps, right? So I need to learn, whether it's, pick up a grammar book that I've done since high school, right? Just take a look at that. Uh, Start learning about the publishing industry, listen to videos like this, where you start to learn a little bit more about writing and you start to fill those gaps so that you're not feeling like, I just don't know what to do. I feel like my writing is bad. I feel like, okay, well, let's fix that. I feel like I don't know how to plot. Okay, let's fix that. I feel like I don't know how to create interesting characters. Well, how do you do that? Right? How do you study maybe characters that other people have written? Do you get books on how to write believable characters? Do you go to conferences? So again, it takes action, right? It takes some action to change how we are living today and not writing our book to writing the book later. So whatever resources or skills you think you're missing, or those that you have gaps, then you need to fill those gaps to be able to move forward. Now, one kind of piece of caution here: don't wait until you know everything before you start doing, the writing, before you start taking action. You're not going to know everything. Like I mentioned at the start of this, it's a continual learning process. We're always learning. We're always finding out new things. As soon as I think I know something, something else comes up. Amazon changes something, and I need to go learn what that is. There's new things all the time. So don't wait until you know everything, because you're not going to know everything to start. And that's just actually another delay tactic. So you might not be the best grammarian or be able to spell everything. That's okay. Neither I'm not either. I need to edit all the time. I just write, and then I figure out what's wrong with my sentences later, and hopefully I catch everything that I've done wrong, and I don't always, and then the editor does, and maybe the editor doesn't catch everything. So it's never going to be perfect. So don't let that stop you. Okay, so if you need to learn something, you know that there's a gap between what you know and what you don't know, then do take action to fix that, but don't wait until you know everything to start. Okay, just start writing and start learning at the same time. Okay, so we've reached the last part, and to me, the fun part, which is planning your dream. You want to start now. Okay, so it's the beginning of the year. You want to plan what you're going to do. What do you need to learn? What do you need to write? What do you want to write? All of that stuff. If you don't plan it, it's not going to happen. It's going to be another year going by, and you're not going to have finished or written your your book. So the way that dreams become reality is that we actually plan them. We schedule them into a planner. I have two planners right now. Do I have two? Do I have three? I have two. Okay. So I have my regular planner where I have my, kind of, this is the way that I think the week is going to go. When I put down everything that's going to happen, any appointments that I have, anything that I need to fill in there, any writing that I need to do, any videos that I need to record, anything that I need to do. Okay. So this becomes sort of my schedule for the week. Then I have another planner that I work on every single day, sort of a daily planner, where I get up in the morning and I remind myself of my goals. What is it that I want? Why do I want this? What are my priorities? And I try to think of like 3 priorities for that day to move forward. What do I need to do today to move forward? So I look at my schedule that I planned for the day, and I think of, okay, what are the top three things? What are the things that I need to learn this week in order to do better? Maybe I need to learn a little bit more about videoing. So, because that's not my thing, right? My thing is writing. It's not making videos, even though that's what I'm doing. It's not, I'm not a videographer. I'm not an expert on that, but it's a great medium to get to know other writers, to be able to uh, deliver some of my messages on writing, which was one of my goals back. I decided this at the end of 2020. There was somewhere in 2020 that I wanted to share some of the things that I know, and I wanted to expand. I've written for many years, and I think I know enough now that I can share with people, and I can do it with some kind of confidence, right? Where 5 years into it, I probably couldn't because I still felt like I was very new. Um, and again, do I know everything? Absolutely not, because I'm always learning. But I feel like I could do something, right? So I could share what I know. But I'm not a video person. So how do I do that? I need to learn. I need to watch videos on how to create YouTube videos. So that's something that was my gap. That was something I needed to learn in order to accomplish my goal. So well, that's a priority. Watch something on how to create a video, learn about cameras, learn about sound, learn about editing a video. So all of those things were things I needed to do to move my goal forward. So I put those in the planner. So if you want to achieve any goal, whether it's writing, whether it's something else, you need to plan it and you need to schedule it. It's the beginning of the year, so it's a great time to plan. It's a great time to sit with your planners and look at your year as a whole and to start breaking that down into, okay, well, this is my goal for the end of, I want my novel written by the end of 2022. Fantastic. Well, then that means that I have 12 months. So how am I going to do this? December tends to be a month when there's not a lot of stuff done. So maybe I have 11 months to actually write it. And some people may not need that long, but I'm just saying you might want to take the entire year. Maybe you're saying it's only going to take me 6 months, and then the other 6 months I'm going to use to market and promote and create and publish my book. Who knows? However you want to do it, but however you want to do it needs to be planned and it needs to be scheduled into your planner. It might not work exactly the way that you think it's going to work. It might, things happen, but you'll get way more done if you put it into a planner and you check it every single day. And every single day, you say these are the top three things. You could say it could be five things. It doesn't matter. Three is always the number that people use because it's probably easy. It could be five things. Sometimes I have more than three things, but typically I have three things that I want to achieve. So maybe something I need to learn, something that I need to write, something that I need to do for marketing. And since I want to move forward on those three things, those are the three things that I will get done today. And it'll be little steps. It'll be something small, but small things add up to big things, right? So if I'm doing something every day to move forward, then that's how I'm going to achieve my goal at the end of the year. So what you want to do is figure out then what is delaying you. So those things that I just mentioned, about fear and about not wanting to change and all of that, is it that or is it something else? What is keeping you from moving forward? What is that obstacle that's in your way? And then you need to work on getting rid of that obstacle, right? So get rid of that obstacle and start planning what you want to achieve so that you can reach your goal. So if we can kind of push those obstacles aside or just do it despite those obstacles, then you're gonna, it's gonna be better. And then once you start scheduling and once you start moving forward, once you start writing, once you start creating that outline, thinking of what you want to write, um, the reasons why you don't do it or can't do it or are afraid to do it start to go away. They start to be because you're doing it, right? So you're doing it and you're thinking, okay, well, this isn't as scary as I thought it was. I actually don't mind changing my schedule a little bit. It's not bothering me as much. There's things I don't know, but yeah, I'm learning, and it's not as difficult as I thought. So what happens when you actually start pushing forward despite the obstacles or the problem, whatever's keeping you from doing what you're doing, is it becomes less and less and less. Right now it's huge and it's fearful and it's right there and it's in your face and you're like, okay, I can't start, right? But once you start, it starts to sort of fade away. All those other reasons why you couldn't do it they're gone, right? Because you're doing it. So figure out what it is for you that's causing you not to start, so that it doesn't become another year of that taking over and you not doing, not starting your book and not writing. So one thing that I want to end this with, to let you know that we all go through this, okay? So we're all beginning writers at some point. We're all fearful and doubtful, and we procrastinate, and we think we don't know things, and we all go through that stage. And then we enter the stage of, okay, I'm going to try. And then as we try, we start to learn, and we start to get excited. And then we actually start doing it, right? And it really starts to flow better. And then finally, you'll reach the day where you actually have your book written, and then you'll have the next fear, which is, how do I get this published? Which, don't worry about that part yet. But it's the stages of being a writer. It's the stages of publishing a book. So don't be afraid of that. Actually welcome all that. And hopefully by next year, by the end of the year, when I'm talking to you, you will say, you know what, I have my book written, and I did it. I got away from all that fear and all the challenges and everything, and now I've got my book written. So now tell me how to publish it, right? So maybe that should be your question for next year. How do I get this published now? Um, but I'm really excited. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great 2022. I am super excited for you, for me, and for this new year. And I will see you again next Friday with my next video. Don't forget to hit the like and the share button if this was helpful to you. See you next week.